Video number 11, Justice was not served for Daniel. Hi, it's Kathleen, I'm back. I am picking up where I left off on video number 10, talking about the burns my son received while in his second-month move into his new Brooklyn residence. I received a call in New Jersey by Daniel's favorite staff member around 12 a.m. in the morning of August 9th, 1999, stating to me Daniel was burned. I sat up quickly and hit the record button on my phone that I had set up just for the same reason I recorded my past conversations with the administration, so it would not end up, he said, she said. I was still very groggy when he started talking about the burns that Daniel received. He told me when he arrived for his 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, Daniel wanted to go out to the corner deli for some Diet Pepsi. And while doing this, the residents in the building asked him to please purchase coffee for them. He stated on the way back to the residence, he placed the very hot coffee on Daniel's lap while he was sitting in his wheelchair, and it burst open on his shirt and went through to his stomach area that resulted in severe burns. The reality was the staff went out to get food for himself, not Diet Pepsi for Daniel. Staff was trying to cover his back by now. Daniel already had plenty of Diet Pepsi in his apartment. Management, director, and myself made sure Daniel always had a very large supply of Pepsi because he was well known as the Pepsi man. He loved Diet Pepsi. By now I was livid and making calls back and forth to the director and staff. The director and nurse were telling staff to just keep an eye on his burns when they should have told him to call 911 immediately. After I realized the staff was covering up the severity of Daniel's burns by telling me they were just not that bad, just a few bubbles popping up in his stomach area, I demanded he call 911 ASAP. He also stated to me he was having trouble finding Daniel's medical cards, and that was because they were locked up in the downstairs office. Here I was living now in New Jersey, and I was dealing with another crisis by this group home move disaster. It was now 1:30 in the morning, 2 hours into the burns, and my daughter was away for a few days with her family. Here I was alone in New Jersey with no car to drive. I felt like I was looking at a circus performance with people not knowing what the others were doing, running around making bad decisions for my son. While staff was at the ER by now, I waited till he finally arrived back with Daniel to find out what happened. After I talked with staff concerning the outcome of the ER visit, I then talked to my son and promised I would be there very early the next morning. I also informed the staff to leave Daniel home from his program due to the prior event that occurred hours earlier. At 7 a.m., I called the residents to see how my son was doing. Staff informed me that he and Daniel would soon be on their way to go across the street to the day program to have the school nurse apply medication to Daniel's burns because the office was closed till 9 a.m., and he had been sent home from the ER with no medication, just prescriptions. I was beside myself with anger that Daniel's burns could have been avoided. I called the school nurse and informed her I would be at the program by 9 a.m. I asked her how the burns looked, and she stated horrific. When I finally arrived at the program, I was devastated by Daniel's second-degree burns. My son, being the loving, forgiving soul he was, told me not to worry, Mom. That was who he was, always looking out at the bright side of life and looking for the best in everyone. He was my hero. 28 years have passed since Daniel joined his first group home setting in New York City, the one I was hoping would be the stepping stone to the independence he so wanted. It has now been 19 years since he joined his second group home setting, back to Brooklyn, hoping this was going to be the charm. Well, it was not. It all went down the drain into the swamp, the muddy swamp, and the scumbags in power who allowed this all to happen are still swimming in the muddy swamp. My pain is as real and vivid today as it was back then. The story doesn't end here, by no means. More drama and hell was to follow the outcome of this group home blunder. As much as I wanted to punish the staff for their negligent behavior, I know the real culprits were the big bad wolf, Executive Director Edward R. Matthews, and his gopher, Director of Residences, Linda B. Lowell, for their negligence in not securing Daniel's safety on his group home journey. But they cannot escape the Grim Reaper. People will become older. Power jobs will end. Money will be gone. But the evil ones will someday perish and lay in the dust, and their graves will be walked on. They have a special place in hell waiting for them. My next video, number 12, I will tell how Daniel's group home journey and 30-year program came to an end with the agency, and the drama that still continued on. I am also hoping to eventually go live. Please watch my videos 1 through 10. I want to thank you for watching and listening. Please feel free to comment or like. Be kind.